Well, this week's weather, along with supply chain issues, are putting a burden on wineries across the region during growing season this spring. WFXR's Kylie Kidd spent the day at a local vineyard and has more from an expert.
Virginia is a very difficult state to grow fruit in. Grapevines like it dry, and we have very short, hot summers, very humid summers.
Kevin Vernon at Stony Brook Vineyards says everything has to be just right to grow wine grapes. From the soil to the weather, it can all affect the taste of the wine.
The weather we're having right now, this wet weather, I'd prefer it to be dry. And I'd prefer to dry it very quickly after it rains. Not to mention we had hail last night, which was never good.
Vernon says hail isn't good because the vines are in the early stages of growing and the buds are very fragile at this point. He also says weeds can help with the heavy rain.
In the rainy season, the weeds will compete, will help dry up a lot of that rain from the vine itself, because vines like them dry. So the weeds will retain some of that water, which keeps it away from the vines themselves.
He says weeds can help in the dry season as well.
In the dry season, the weed and the roots of the weeds will compete with the vine to go down and find the water in the soil, which is great. That will cause the vine's roots to go deeper and deeper. The deeper the roots, the healthier the vine.
Another thing affecting the vineyard is supply chain shortages. Vernon says it is hard to get the proper chemicals and fertilizers, but it is vital.
It could result in a canopy that's not structured well enough to give the fruit the shade that it needs. And of course, if cluster formation isn't there, you're not going to get good clusters, then you don't have good berries, and of course, no wine.
Vernon and his family opened the vineyard during the COVID-19 pandemic and have been doing very well. He says it is all about adapting in the wine business.
Owning a winery and/or running a winery and a vineyard itself it's not a business, it's a lifestyle change. You live it, you breathe it, you're out there all the time.
Vernon says the vineyard will continue to adapt. As for this growing season, he says so far, so good. In Troutville, Kylie Kidd, WFXR News.